Welcome to another episode of Pinsky Law Presents. My name is Brad Pinsky and I'm your today's host on the topic Installment Purchase Agreements versus Municipal Lease. Today's information can be found in the Fire Service Secretary and Treasurer Manual on page 68. You can order that from our website, www.pinskylaw.com. So, what is the term municipal lease and how does that compare to an installment purchase agreement or installment purchase contract? Well, in our 25 years of representing fire districts, we've come to the conclusion that the term municipal lease is a fake term created by vendors in order to trick you into avoiding the requirements that you would have to go through for an installment purchase agreement. In other words, the vendors try to make it easy for you to enter into this lease because in a true lease, you can avoid bidding and avoid going to the voters for approval. But a municipal lease doesn't really exist. So, what is a true lease and what is an installment purchase agreement? Well, let's talk about a true lease first. A true lease is an arrangement where the buyer over a number of years makes payments, but at the end of the term does not own the vehicle and does not have the option to buy out the vehicle for a nominal value. So for example, let's assume you're leasing a Chevy Tahoe and you lease it over 5 years and let's say it's $50,000. At the end of the lease, your option to buy it, should you choose to exercise it, would be, let's say, $20,000. It would not be $1. $20,000 is a true residual value. What about an installment purchase agreement? Well, with an installment purchase agreement, you are paying for the purchase over several installments. So in most of the arrangements that I've seen, at the end of the term, which can be up to 20 years for a vehicle, a fire vehicle, the buyout would be $1 or $2. Unlike a true lease, where you would have a buyout for a significant portion of the cost of the vehicle. So that's the factual difference between a true lease and an installment purchase agreement. What are the requirements to enter into a true lease? Well, the benefit of a true lease, since you're not buying it, is you don't have to bid the vehicle and you don't have to go to the voters for approval. Whereas in an installment purchase agreement, you must go to bidding to buy the item or to choose what item you're going to buy. And then once bid and once you've selected the vendor who's going to be manufacturing the vehicle, then you get voter approval. And that voter approval is again holding a vote, a mandatory referendum of all the voters. And if it passes, then you can purchase the vehicle using an installment purchase agreement. So that's the big difference, right? A true lease has a residual value, but you don't have to go through the hurdles of bidding and getting voter approval. But an installment purchase agreement, you do have to first bid the vehicle, and once you get the vehicle for the best price or the best value, depending on your method, then you have to go to the voters for approval. Now, what about installment purchase agreements versus bonds? Well, look, in today's very low environment rate, which, is increasing over time, but the interest rates are still extremely competitive. Bonds, in our experience, are much cheaper than installment purchase agreements. Bonding is generally much cheaper because the municipality has a history, hopefully with the bank it goes to, such as the Bank of Greene County. And the rates you get for bonding are going to be cheaper than the third party gets, who's not a municipality and doesn't have the ability to get the same rates. You're going to be cheaper bonding than installment purchase agreement, which is not to say that in some cases the installment purchase agreement isn't financially advantageous. It may be. But for today, what you have to know is, regardless of whether you're going to bond or go through an installment purchase agreement, you have to get voter approval either way, and you still have to bid the vehicle either way, or use one of these, municipal cooperation type deals, right, through these vendors who have pre-bid the vehicles for you. And those are okay. That's a topic for another day, however. So, should you enter into a true lease? Well, that depends. I've never seen a fire truck on a true lease. I've seen chief's vehicles on a true lease, and those are done 3 to 5 years, a Chevy Tahoe or a Ford Expedition or something like that, and then you return it at the end. I've seen those be very advantageous in some situations. But I've rarely seen a fire truck truly leased to a fire district. So today I hope you understand now the difference between installment purchase agreement, a true lease, and the fictional item created called a municipal lease. I'll see you next time on Pinsky Law Presents.